The Invisible Exit, Why Black Women Can't Just Leave. Welcome to Soft Girl Era, the sacred pause Black women have been waiting for. I'm your host, LeAnne Dolce, pronounced Dolce, like sweet softness whispered in French. I'm your guide from burnout to boundaries, from doing to being, from strong to soft and loving every second of it. Today, I want to share something with you that came from a conversation I had recently with Tameka Butler, a woman whose work is literally saving lives and reshaping how we think about safety, healing, and the right to walk away. Tameka's out here doing the work, the real work, the kind that makes the world softer and safer for Black women who've been told their whole lives to just endure. And what she shared with me while we unpacked together, it shook me in the best way, in the way that makes you sit down and say, okay, we need to talk about this. So let's talk about it. Here's the thing nobody wants to say out loud: leaving a toxic relationship or marriage is hard, like really hard. And for Black women, it's a whole different level of impossible sometimes. And I'm not talking about the kind of hard where you just need a good pep talk and a vision board. I'm talking about the kind of hard that involves fear, money, judgment, systems that don't protect you, and a world that keeps asking, well, why didn't you just leave? As if leaving were ever just anything. Let me tell you about Imani. Her story came up in a 2022 report by the YWCA, and it's one of those stories that stays with you. Imani was pregnant. She was also trapped in a relationship where emotional abuse had turned physical, where threats were constant, where every day felt like walking on a tightrope made of glass. And she wanted to leave. She knew she needed to leave. But here's what people don't understand: leaving isn't just about packing a bag and walking out the door. Imani didn't have money. She didn't have a place to go. She didn't trust the police because, let's be honest, when you're a Black woman, calling the cops can feel like trading one danger for another. She didn't trust the medical system either, not after years of being dismissed, disbelieved, and disrespected. And on top of all that, she was pregnant, vulnerable, isolated, scared, and judged. Because even when you're the one being hurt, people still find a way to make it your fault. But Amani found a YWCA program, a program that didn't just offer her a bed, it offered her trauma informed legal advocacy, emergency housing, and people who actually saw her, who believed her, who didn't ask her why she stayed, who asked her what she needed to leave safely. And she did. She left. She got stable housing. She got prenatal care. She got her life back. And then, because Amani is the kind of woman who turns pain into purpose, she became an advocate. She started sharing her story at YWCA events. She helped shape local policy. She made it easier for the next woman and the next and the next. That's what healing looks like when it's supported, when it's believed, when it's resourced. But here's the part that makes my blood boil: Imani's story is not unique. It's common. And the barriers she faced, and financial insecurity, systemic discrimination, isolation, fear, those barriers are everywhere. They're baked into the system. They're why leaving feels impossible, because sometimes it almost is. Now let's talk about what happens after you leave, because leaving is just the beginning. And for Black women, the danger doesn't stop when the relationship ends. Sometimes it follows you online. Meet Keisha. She's a Black professional. She ended a toxic relationship. She thought she was free, but her ex partner had other plans. He started cyber stalking her, harassing her on social media, sending explicit images of her to her coworkers, doxing her, threatening her safety and her reputation. And here's the kicker: Black women are 84% more likely to receive abusive or problematic tweets than white women. 84%. So Keisha wasn't just dealing with one abusive ex. She was dealing with a digital landscape that was already hostile to her existence. And when she tried to get help, she ran into the same walls so many survivors hit: laws that didn't cover tech abuse, platforms that didn't take her seriously, a system that treated online harassment like it wasn't real violence. But Keisha didn't give up. She connected with End Violence Against Women, EVOL, and used new legal tools to report image based abuse. She got support from specialist services, and eventually her ex was held accountable. Her images were removed. And her case, her courage, helped push through new regulations protecting women from tech enabled abuse. Keisha turned her trauma into policy change. She made the world a little bit safer for the next Black woman trying to escape, but she shouldn't have had to fight that hard. None of us should. And then there's this homicide is now the leading cause of death for pregnant and postpartum women in the United States. Let that sink in. Not complications, not illness, homicide. And Black women are at significantly higher risk. Often the person killing them is an intimate partner. A 2023 Axios investigation followed several Black women who tried to leave abusive partners during pregnancy. They faced restrictive laws, inadequate protection, a lack of accessible support services. Some were afraid they'd lose custody of their children if they spoke up. Some couldn't find shelter, some didn't survive. But advocacy groups didn't stay silent. They lobbied for policy reforms. They pushed for increased funding. They created safe housing and legal aid programs, and slowly, painfully, things started to change. New state level protections were passed. Trauma informed care programs expanded. A national conversation began. But it took deaths, it took investigations, it took Black women's lives being treated as disposable before anyone paid attention. And that right there is why we're talking about this today. Because leaving a toxic relationship isn't just hard, it's dangerous, it's expensive, it's stigmatized, it's unsupported. And for Black women, it's all of that times 100. So when someone asks, why didn't she just leave? The answer is she tried, and the world made it almost impossible. But here's what I want you to hear. Here's what Tameka Butler wants you to hear. Here's what Imani and Keisha and every survivor who's ever had to fight their way to freedom wants you to hear. You are not alone. If you're in a toxic relationship right now, if you're scared, if you're stuck, if you're wondering how you'll ever get out, and I need you to know that there are people who will believe you. There are organizations that will help you. The YWCA, the National Domestic Violence Hotline, local advocacy groups, trauma informed legal services, they exist and they're waiting for you. And if you're not in a toxic relationship, but you know someone who is, here's what you can do: stop asking why they stayed, start asking how you can help. Offer empathy, not judgment, share resources, be a safe person, challenge the stigma, because the shame and blame that survivors face, that's part of what keeps them trapped. We also need to advocate. We need to push for better protections, both online and offline. We need to support policies and programs that make it safer and easier for people to leave abusive situations. We need to fund shelters. We need to train law enforcement. We need to hold abusers accountable, not survivors. And we need to redefine what strength looks like, because leaving isn't weak. Asking for help isn't weak. Choosing yourself, protecting your peace, saying no to what's killing you, that's the strongest thing you can do. This is your soft girl era. This is where you learn that softness isn't surrender, it's survival. It's the quiet, powerful return to rest, to self trust, to radical joy. It's the sacred space where you unlearn survival mode and rediscover what it feels like to just breathe. Tameka Butler is out here creating that space. She's making the world softer, safer, and more just for Black women who've been carrying the weight of the world on their shoulders. And today we're honoring that work. We're amplifying those voices. We're saying loudly and clearly, you deserve to be free. You deserve to be safe. You deserve to be soft. So if you're listening to this and you're tired, if you're scared, if you're wondering if it's worth it to leave, I'm here to tell you it is. You are worth it. Your peace is worth it. Your life is worth it. Here's what I need from you today, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, today. If you're in it right now, pick up the phone, call the National Domestic Violence Hotline, text a friend, reach out to the YWCA. Take one small step toward the exit, even if it's just researching your options, even if it's just whispering to yourself, I deserve better, because you do. If you're not in it, but someone you love is, stop waiting for them to ask for help. Offer it. Say, I see you. I believe you. I'm here, and mean it. Share this message. Tag someone who needs to hear it. Fund an organization doing this work. Vote for leaders who will protect survivors. Be the kind of person who makes leaving feel possible. Because here's the truth we don't say enough: the world won't change unless we change it. Systems won't protect us unless we demand it. And Black women won't be free unless we build the exits ourselves. So let's build them. Let's fund them. Let's staff them with people who believe survivors, who see them, who don't ask why they stayed, but how they can help them leave safely. Let's create a world where leaving isn't heroic, it's just possible. Where softness isn't a luxury, it's a right. Where Black women don't have to choose between survival and safety because both are guaranteed. This is the work. This is the movement. This is your soft girl era. And it starts right now with you, with me, with all of us refusing to accept a world that makes leaving feel impossible. So reach out, speak up, show up. And let's make the exit visible, accessible, and safe for every Black woman who's ever whispered in the dark, I want out. Because she deserves to be heard. She deserves to be free. And she deserves a world that catches her when she finally chooses herself. Let's be that world.